Hey guys, hello, and today we have a not so fun video. It's just gonna be a quick one. So, Space Coconut recently released a video for Dead by Daylight on his channel it's called Colorblind Mode Incoming, and he's gonna talk about how he's gonna make a video on the Q&A, on the next Q&A that's gonna come up, and you know, about how it's how the behavior mishandled the information in terms of color blindness and how Almo is involved in everything. And I think it was a pretty good video. I think most of the things he said in it were accurate. I think behavior is not perfect, and I do think behavior has fucked up, has had moments when they prove to be somewhat greedy, and is definitely not a company that deserves everyone's respect. But what you have to remember about behavior is, what you have to remember is that when you talk about behavior, when anyone, a forum user, anyone, ever talks badly about behavior, what you have to make sure you do is talk about behavior as a whole. Because not everyone in behavior is a terrible, greedy person. Not everyone in behavior is dumb. Not everyone in behavior makes bad decisions. Talking about behavior as a whole might sound pretty silly because it's a lot of people, and obviously not everyone in behavior is going to hear you, but it's better than to just say the wrong name. And I'm not saying Almo is a perfect game designer or anything. I have issues with Almo as well. Like, I do think there are things he could do better, but some people are actually saying that the best solution for the game is to fire Almo. And that's a valid opinion, yes. But I do not agree with that. That is the pussy option to me. Your option is to literally just get rid of Almo, get a new game designer. That's why I don't feel as at ease being with the DBD community, because people who say that are cowards. To just simply go and say, let's fire Almo, when you yourself can never do as much as Almo to make the game better. And your complaints of Dead by Daylight are valid as long as, you know, they make sense and are not just like,
I went against DS, and it's not fair, and I went against a Spirit after winning 5 times in a row, and it's not fair.
As long as it's not a stupid complaint. Now, my problems with Almo, for all fairness, I shall say them. I don't think he's very good at socializing with community. I don't think he's very good at that. I think he needs to improve at that. And the other thing is, I just think he needs to get better at the game. That's just it. Those are the only two things. If he can do that, then I think the complaints would lower down, wouldn't they? It's like Animal Farm. Like, if you just fire Almo, how do you know the next game designer won't be worse? How do you know the next game designer won't be terrible? You're saying it as if Almo is the worst game designer of all time, when he isn't. And there's some people in this comment section of Space Coconut's video. Obviously, Space Coconut is not involved. He's a good person. He was a good boy. He did not do anything wrong. But there's some people in the comment section of this video, yeah? Why is Almo still in the company? They will have a bad image. He should be long gone from Balance Team. Also, this is just damage control. I doubt they were working on it. Please be careful. And this comment sounds okay, but when you look at the replies, it says things like, yes, Otz Dava. Now, Otz, I think we can all agree, is a little bit different from Almo. I think Otz is extremely good at this game. I don't think I've met a player better than Otz at this game. Yeah, sure, he loses sometimes, and he didn't get that 50 win streak on Plague, but I think he's good at this game enough to have some complaints that can be considered valid when coming from him. But there's some people who, including this person, who are saying that Otz shouldn't count as someone who gives valid opinions because he's a fog whisperer and they are bound to what the company says. Now, I don't know how much of this is true, but I can tell you for a fact that Otz has definitely complained about things that he thinks is unfair about the game. He thinks Dead Hard through traps as Trapper is unfair. He thinks DS is not entirely fair for the killer. He thinks Object of Obsession and Keys are ridiculous. Like, Otz Dava is not someone who just pretends that Dead by Daylight is a perfect game. Definitely not. And that's not me simping for Otz, that is just fact. It says here, becoming a fog whisperer is killing his true opinion. I used to respect him, now he is a joke to me. What this person, not assuming gender, is forgetting, and I replied this, Almo and Otz will always, and I do mean always, be more helpful towards fixing the game than you will ever be. Smiley face. And sorry to sound dramatic, but that is true. This person will do nothing to help improve the game. That people like Almo, and let's forget about Otz for a minute, this is more about Almo, that people like Almo are just the pure reason why the game is rubbish. When he himself has done nothing to improve the game, and if his solution is, let's fire Almo, That's ridiculous, bro. Bro, that's the pussy option, bro. Come on, bro. And it's also absurd to think that every wrong thing with the game is because of Almo. Now, due to my knowledge, I don't know if I'm wrong about this, but due to my knowledge, Almo has joined Behavior's team, the Fog, I guess you could say, in 2018. Balance issues and problems in the game and behavior at not being a very decent company towards its customers was still a thing before Almo even joined DBD. And this guy says, and the wave of don't bully Almo streamers doesn't stop. But bullying Almo doesn't help. Saying let's fire Almo doesn't help. Giving a valid complaint to Almo, no matter how he replies like let's just look at the statistics. I don't think you understand. If you just say your complaint to Almo, he's on stream regularly. If you just say your complaint once, don't fucking copy and paste it and continuously spam enter until, like, you know, he replies to it. If you just say your complaint once, and if he reads it, that's going to be in his head forever, okay? Going to stay in his head. You have done something that improved the game by a tiny little percentage, okay? And then you have this guy who's actually okay. I mean, I think I had a feud with him. Yes, I in fact did, but he's actually kind of okay. He said, second, well, I think Almo's a complete idiot. It's a little harsh, but whatever. I also know battering/bullying him isn't going to make him or Behavior do their jobs any faster. That one sentence sums up this whole video that I'm currently making as a whole. Almo is not a perfect game designer. He has flaws. He's not very good at the game. He's not very good at socializing with the community. But let's fire Almo is not going to help, because what if the new game designer is worse? Because say what you will about Almo, but Almo loves this game. And I do believe his heart is in the right place when he makes changes. It's just that he's not very good at socializing with the community, and sometimes his reasoning for some changes are invalid, I believe. When you complain about behavior, you complain about behavior as a whole. Because not everything in this game is Almo's fault. Because what you're forgetting, and people say that on stream, oh, well,
Almo complained about people complaining about colorblind settings, and in the forums, he has said multiple times, telling me again doesn't help.
He has to listen to the complaint from multiple people. And that's where his lack of socializing skills kind of fails. Now, I might be wrong, but I bet the first time he replied to someone, the very first person to tell him that something is wrong with the game, I bet he replied, okay, thank you, I'll look into it. I mean, of course, his socializing is terrible, which means he probably didn't look into it, but all the same, but you gotta understand that some people just forget to be nice, and that's why he needs to sort of train to be better with community, because being the game designer of any game, you're always going to have people complain. It doesn't matter that this is Dead by Daylight. Every game, the game designer is going to get people telling him off. And you just have to adapt to that. And also, you got to think about it. Not everything is Almo's fault, like I said, because that the colorblind problem in DBD isn't really a problem when they run Bloodhound. But obviously, the problem is that you can't run Bloodhound as, you know, as an entire perk, because that's an entire perk slot. Which is why I think Bloodhound should probably be base kit. But then again, that changes a lot of things, because making Bloodhound now base kit, that Wraith only has now 2 teachables, which means now there's come to the decision what other perks should be base kit. What other perks should be base kit? What's Wraith's new teachable going to be? Should we still keep teachables after this time? And how many times are we going to do this? It's just that I don't think this is all purely because of Almo. Like, yeah, Almo is the one who streams, and the one who got the question, and the one who didn't reply positively. But at the end of the day, I don't know whose fault it is that DBD took this long to have colorblind settings. I don't know who to inherently blame. But I don't think it's Almo, guys. I think that's stupid to just purely say, it's Almo's fault. And I'm saying Almo too much, but fuck. But I feel like that when I have an issue with a game, I should talk to behavior as a whole. And what's kind of funny here is that all of these people, and I'm not trying to say that, oh,
well, you should only complain about the game if you can do better.
And I think to explain the stream perfectly, I think you should go to Zagrad's channel. I think he made a really good video on it. And he perfectly explained how not everything balance-wise in the game is up to Almo, blah, blah, blah. I've said this all before. Just understand that attacking one person in behavior, no matter that he is the game designer, is going to make any difference. Because I'm pretty sure there's someone in behavior who probably doesn't know where he's at right now, and is actually worse than Almo, but you don't know his name. And so to address him, you have to talk to behavior as a whole. because that's just not fair in the end. And all these comments are saying that the best thing for the game would be to fire Almo when it's not. Like, this comment says, it's so easy to say we are working on them. And when I say that Almo is bad at socializing with community, I'm being a bit unfair here, but because all of behavior is bad with socializing with the community, not just Almo. Like, behavior's way of sharing things with community is saying,
we're working on them, and the changes will be here soon, and we hope you enjoy them.
That's the easy way of socializing with community, and it is the most inefficient way of socializing with community. But the easy way and the most inefficient way of trying to say, what are the changes you should make to DBD, you say, to make the game better?
I think we should fire Almo, and then just keep complaining until they make the changes.
Bro, make sure your complaints are valid. Just make sure that if you do have a valid complaint about Almo, that it is 100% intended to Almo. I don't think Almo is fully in charge of everything balance-wise, and I don't think that everything balance-wise is Almo's fault. Except 35-second pop, that's fucking stupid, Almo. And I'm no means defending behavior. Like, yes, the colorblind settings has been a complaint for 4 years, and the fact that they are only doing it now, and are not even saying fully on that it's going to happen now, it's an embarrassment. Then again, that's not all Almo's fault, and I keep saying Almo, but Almo is the main topic of this video. DBD has many problems, including this one, and it's not very good of you to just blame it all on one person. That's not fair. It's just simply not fair. And I might not agree with Space Coconut as a whole on everything he says about the game, and I certainly do not agree with everything that other YouTubers like Terrico have to say about the game. Terrico, I don't know, but I don't agree with everything they say. But once again, I think all complaints are valid, and I respect them for when they address behavior. They address behavior as a whole. And I have not watched every single one of their videos, but I don't think under no circumstance in any of their videos they've said the best solution to solve DBD's problem is to fire the game designer. I don't think they've ever said that. In fact, I think they might have said the opposite. Also, look at this. And some complaints are valid, but they're just addressed so badly. Look at this comment. So what, they've been ignoring the colorblind options for years, and only probably started working on it because of that tweet? Yes, I agree with that. It's embarrassing on behavior's part, and I just hope that this doesn't happen again, and I hope they've learned their lesson. But then he goes on to say, we should start a trend on Twitter, #FireAlmo. And this just makes me not agree with his complaint at all, because some people in this game have valid complaints, but they write it so fucking poorly that I just can't take them seriously, and therefore their complaint looks invalid when it's actually not. That's what's annoying. But at the same time, I think every complaint is valid to some degree. I just think that you guys are aiming it the wrong way and your solutions are awful, okay? Okay.